You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Tuesday, November 10th, 2020. It is also the feast day of Saint Leo the Great. Now, this week on the Catholic Sprouts podcast, we are continuing our Jesus series by understanding the call that he gave to those he met in real life, way back when the gospel was really happening, but something he also calls us to do, and that is a calling to be his disciple. We talked about through the example of Peter, Andrew, James, and John, but then also Mary, Martha, and Lazarus, that this call to follow Jesus and be his disciple is different for each of us. We all have the same call, but the way that it plays out, the things that we are called to do and be as his disciple, are each beautifully different. And so today we have the incredible example of Pope St. Leo the Great, who lived in the 400s, to show us one incredible example of what it means to be Jesus's disciple. So here's a little bit about Pope St. Leo the Great. So he lived during the 400s, and he was, of course, the Pope. He was Pope for 21 years, which at the time was a long time because way back in the 400s, healthcare was not very good and people did not live that long. So he was a well-loved Pope that stuck around for a long time. Pope Leo the Great was known for fighting the heresies of his time. Now, a heresy is a false teaching. It is teaching something that is untrue about Jesus Christ, and there were many false teachings at the time. There are two ways to deal with a heresy when you're a pope. You can either kick people out of the church or even have them killed, or you can be like Pope Leo the Great and pray very, very hard. Try to discuss these false teachings with the people teaching them and try to reach a conversion for them. This is what Pope St. Leo the Great did. He was known as a great father. He, of course, stood strong on the truth, but he tried to bring everyone, even those that have been misled, into that truth. Pope St. Leo the Great also lived during an interesting time. At the time, there were roving packs of barbarians going through Europe. Now, a barbarian is sort of a roving army that does all sorts of evil and horrible things. At the time, they were led by a particularly brutal man named Attila the Hun. He basically went from big city to big city in Europe, burning and pillaging and stealing as he went. Pope St. Leo the Great loved the ordinary people that he served, and so he took it upon himself to go and negotiate with Attila the Hun. And through, once again, conversation and prayer, Pope St. Leo the Great was able to convince Attila the Hun to not come to Rome, and the people of Rome were protected. Pope St. Leo the Great was also known as a great pastor. He had boundless energy. He loved every single person he met, and he was known for his big heart. He was not some pope that was out of touch with ordinary people. Okay, so that is a very quick biography of Pope St. Leo the Great, but how was he a disciple? Well, here is the most beautiful thing that we can come to be as a disciple, and that is someone grounded in prayer in relationship with Jesus Christ. Remember, Jesus called people specifically to come and see where he lived, to come and eat a meal with him, to sit next to him, to have a real encounter with him. And then, and only then, after they had been loved and trained and challenged to let go of their own sins, did he send them out in the world to preach and do his work. Well, this is the life of Pope St. Leo the Great. He is known for his incredible spiritual insights. There are some prayers that he wrote while in prayer that we still have today. He had a close and beautiful relationship with Jesus Christ. The most important thing that he did every day was pray and spend time with Jesus. And it was only through that relationship and that close bond with the person of Jesus Christ that he was able to deal with heresies in the church or deal with Attila the Hun coming to attack Rome. It was only through Jesus Christ that he was able to do any of these things. Now, this is true for the disciples that gathered around Jesus when he was here on earth. It was only through him, through his presence in their life, that they were then able to go and expel demons or to preach or to even offer their lives out of love at the end. It all comes back to knowing Jesus. And so, Sprouts, that is also our challenge. If we are going to be disciples of Jesus Christ, we will be able to do great things, but only if it all starts with a relationship with Jesus. And like all relationships, whether it's a relationship with a sibling or a friend, if we don't spend time with that person, then there isn't a relationship. So my challenge for you tonight is to find 5 minutes. 5 minutes, I know that's long. It can feel long, but 5 minutes to be alone and to pray. If you don't know what to do during those 5 minutes, then I encourage you to grab a Bible and turn to the Gospels, either Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. Read about Jesus and pray that you can get to know him. But 5 minutes of independent prayer. That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God created you to be. Just one more thing, if you are looking for ideas for Advent, I encourage you to go and check out CatholicSprouts.com/Advent/ideas. We have tons of free printables that can help your children really stay engaged with the Advent season and wait for Jesus. Once again, that address is CatholicSprouts.com/Advent/ideas.